Hey, buddy. Dude, if you come in and I'm still finishing your mom, you just get started on the ball.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. We have tonight with us a very special guest. If you're not in the room and you're not seeing this, you're missing something special. We have with us world-class trainer all the way from America, Rozier. Andre, how are we doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How's everything? Happy New Year's. I hope everybody's being safe and healthy on the other side of the pond, and we're about to talk.
Let's talk. Let's get into this. So for people who don't know who you are, Andre, I'm surprised that people don't know who you are. Just give us a quick overview as to who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Andre Rozier. I'm a professional boxing trainer, and I'm also the CEO of Havoc Athletics, which is one of the premier athletic clothing lines on the market today.
Fantastic, fantastic. So you also are in partnership, I believe, in that MTK Global. Am I correct?
Yes, we're partners in a management union that we formed, and so far we're putting the pieces together, and 2021 should be our coming out year for both companies.
So tell us, how did that come about, and what was the purpose, and what is the purpose for you with this partnership?
Well, it actually came out of the blue, to tell you the truth. Chris Glover, who is my media director, he knows Jamie Conley, and things just seemed to progress from their conversation. One thing led to another. Jamie had stated he would have loved to have worked with me when he was boxing. And Chris said, well, why don't you two work together with the management of the athletes you have? And sure enough, here we go.
Fantastic. Great stuff. So talk to us about the fighters that you've worked with in your career.
Okay. Well, starting from the earlier sides, we had world champions Louis Collazo, Travis Sims, Monty Barrett, my newer crew, Saddam Ali, Daniel Jacobs, Curtis Stevens, Joe Green, Richard Commey, Sergey Deverenchenko, Evgen Kitrov, Marcus Brown, Edgar Berlanga, my newest acquisition, and the list goes on and on.
Well, gotta say shout out to Edgar Berlanga. That's my brother right there. I remember talking to Edgar Berlanga very early in his career when he was with Real Deal Promotions. We spoke to him one evening, and we spoke to the whole of that group of fighters. Right. And Berlanga's personality stood out. He was the guy that stood out that night. Kept contact with it ever since, and he's got a great knockout record at the moment. So let's start with him even, Edgar Berlanga. 15 fights, 15 KOs. Let's talk about him.
Well, actually now it's 16 fights, 16 KOs all in the first round.
Absolutely.
And
so let's talk about him.
He's coming along at a really nice, smooth pace. A lot of people are saying, oh, I want to see him do. The young man is still very new to what's going on, believe it or not. Although he has 16 fights, he doesn't have 16 fight experience at this point yet, because each of those fights have only been one round. So what we're doing is we're tooling his capability in the ring, in the gym, and getting him ready there. We work hard on the conditioning and focusing points to make sure he's sharp and articulate. And one step at a time, people will see just how good he is.
So when we talk about Edgar Berlanga, he's had 16 fights, 16 KOs, but they've all gone in the first round. Obviously, in the gym, he's not just having one round, he's having many rounds of sparring. So you're getting to see Edgar Berlanga up close and personal, what he can do. And where do you want him to be? At this point in time, are you looking to put him in with a name that's an experienced fighter, that's got a name like a David Lemieux, maybe, or Rosada, as some people are talking about, or even a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., or are you looking at something else at the moment in terms of your vision now as a trainer?
Well, what I like to do is get him a little bit more experience, a little bit tougher test than what he's been getting. And then maybe 2 fights from now, we could talk about a Gabe Rosado, the stronger journeyman in the middle of it. And then he can start stepping up to tier class professionals. And then by maybe 23 or 24 fights, world class.
Okay, so I mean, so you've obviously done pad work with him, and the power. Well, how does that translate? Because you would have been with a lot of power punches. How does his punching power translate from the pads to what he's been doing? Can you say like, yeah, I can see why he's knocking all those guys out. He's got world class punching power, or?
Well, you know, funny you should say that, because that's just how I describe it. I've worked with a lot of big punches in my time, more so than a lot of people have, and everybody has a different flavor to their capability. Curtis Stevens had like that blunt force punching power. Like, he could be falling backwards and hit you with a shot and he'll knock you out. You have a guy like Richard Commey, who has snap power, but that's real power at the end of it. And then you have someone like Daniel Jacobs, who has quick twitch power. So shots you don't see gets them off, and that's what hurts his guys. Mm-hmm. Edgar is more on the blunt force power scale. He has thudding power. And what I'm working on with him now is to make it more quick twitch. So he's sharper with it, and when it lands, they don't expect it, and look out, here it comes.
Woo! Woo! So you're adding a little bit more explosiveness and fast twitch muscle with that. That sounds fantastic. Okay, let's move on a little bit more. You alluded to Richard Commey, one who I've interviewed very early in his career when he was down in, I think near Buckers Hill in England, in an Essex gym. I remember Richard Commey talking about wanting to become a world champion, and obviously he became a world champion. Then he came across Teofimo Lopez. When you get to the age of Richard Commey, and with such a thin frame, was that a weight issue with him, or was it just that Teofimo Lopez is that great a puncher?
Well, you know, I told him through the whole camp, I stressed to Richard, I said, Richard, you can't make any mistakes, just like Lopez can't make any mistakes with you. I said, it's the person that makes a mistake in the fight that will end up being the one that comes up on the losing end of it. I said, keep your hands up. Don't drop defense while you're leading in the offense. And as you can see from the first round, Richard did a wonderful job controlling with the jab. And I told him, I said, I want 7, 8 more rounds just like that. Let's open him up, control it. In the second round, he got hit with a little shot that got his attention, and he went in hot. And when they threw those punches, Lopez got his there quicker, but the problem was that Richie dropped that left hand, and I told him, don't do it. Don't drop your hand in traffic. And unfortunately, the Lopez shot got to him before Richie's shot could get to Lopez. And pretty much that was the end of that.
When that happens to a fighter in your experience, how do you bring them back from getting knocked out like that?
Well, what you have to do is you have to reassure them that things happen. Anybody can get caught. You have to get up, get your ass back on that bike, and start pedaling again. Get your mind in the fact that I made a mistake, but I'm going to rectify it by never making that mistake again.
There is something that said in boxing when a guy who's got a really good chin, that's never been knocked out gets knocked out, that they're never the same fighter again, or they say that oh, his chin's gone, his durability's not the same, maybe because of the weight. Is that true, or is that just a fable?
Well, it depends on you know, what happens with quote unquote the knockout. Okay, for instance, I'll use the Lopez Commey fight. Richard got hit with a shot. He got stunned. He got back up. Lopez jumped on him. Basically, it was what we call a rumble of punches. He rumbled them, and a lot of those shots didn't really score. But Richard didn't do anything. He was laying on the ropes when he should have been at least tying him up or moving. And this way, you slow the action down. But he didn't do that. Which is another thing I told him. We never, ever feel that you have to absorb punishment for the sake of. If somebody hurts you with a shot, tie them up, slow them down. That's what boxing is. You got to learn to control the environment. And now he knows. If a shot hits you, you might go down and you get up. If the guy comes hot, you slow him down. You slow him right down and tie him up. Hold them for a minute, get your head right, and reset.
As Uncle James BASHIR always tells me, you've got to know when to hold them and you've got to know when to fold them.
Truly, that there's no truer statement than that one right there. They refer to that in the gambling game of cards, but it holds true in boxing also.
It does, it does. And while I'm at it, I've just got to say a massive shout out to Uncle BASHIR, who set this interview up with us today. I'm so grateful to that man. Known him since 2013. He's been like literally an uncle, taking me in, and he's just mentored me for these years. And I'm just so thankful to him. He still comes on a regular on the show. And yeah, so, and I'm just honored. So thank you to him, and thank you for doing the interview as well. So next thing, obviously, Commey's going to be fighting Martinez February 13th. People in the chat are telling me. Tell me about how you see that fight.
Well, I watched Martinez fight Floyd's kid. I forget his name. I thought he won the fight.
Okay.
And I thought he got jobbed on that one, but he's a crafty young man, slick. I wouldn't say he's a big puncher, but he's efficient.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to be on our P's and Q's. You can't make mistakes because it's not like he's gonna knock you out, but he can out-cute you easily.
Okay.
If you allow him, he can stick that jab out there, counter step, quick combinations, and you can't fall into that trap. So Rich is going to have to keep him at range and keep the 1, 2, 3s going. Nice, clean, and simple, effective, basic boxing. Go downstairs to the body off of some hooks, and then get back on the jab. And I think he'll be okay.
So in the gym, since the fight Commey's had, in terms of being gun shy, have you seen any of that in the gym, or have you seen any difference in ways fighting now? No. He's still working like it was no thing. So I think because he knows, he sparred with some of the best guys in the boxing business. He sparred with Curtis Stevens. So it don't get any worse than that. You're talking about a middleweight that's coming in there working with you. And even if he's working with you, those punches feel like dynamite. So he knows he has no fear of that. He's not shy about that at all. I'm glad to hear it. So while you're on the subject, you mentioned Floyd's fighter, Romero, right. Our brother here, Lawrence Williams, says that was a robbery, and Martinez,
it was a robbery.
Martinez is trained by Robert Garcia.
Yeah, it was. I thought he got jobbed on that one, and it was just like not good. I didn't see Romero winning that fight, but hey, you know the deal. I don't have to tell you.
Exactly. Yeah. While we're on the subject of Floyd's fighters, Gervonta Davis has basically said he's agreed to fight Ryan Garcia. Your thoughts on Ryan Garcia's performance against Luke Campbell and now this announcement?
He he has to tighten up on defense really, really soon. Really soon. I mean, listen, now we're talking about Gervonta Davis. That's one of my nephews. You know, that's my dude there.
Right.
And he's a bad little man. You can't make those mistakes that he was making in that fight with Luke Campbell with Davis. He'll go to sleep and won't wake up. So he better be careful what he's asking for right now. I mean, I know he's at that point where he has to, but that's a dangerous assignment. Very dangerous.
So now there's other talk about now they're saying that the WBC have mandated for Garcia to face Devin Haney. What are your thoughts about that fight?
I like that fight. I think Devin is a fantastic young boxer, very slick, very disciplined, works hard, and I mean, he knows how to move in the ring. He knows how to control it. So that's going to be a tough fight for both of them, but I think Devin is definitely the sharper of the two.
Were you surprised to see the knockdown of Garcia and then the knockout of Luke Campbell?
I wasn't surprised to see the knockdown with his chin way up in the air like he was looking at the Empire State Building.
Like a giraffe.
Insane. I don't understand that one bit. But the body shot that Luke took, and I don't know. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
I said, it almost looked like somebody said, slow down, Luke. You're not doing what we said we needed you to do.
Well, you know, the thing was, it seemed to me like I was like, yeah, Luke's doing all right here. I'm like, yeah, he seems to be coming into the fight. And I'm like, all of a sudden, boom, left hook to the body. Like, oh my word. I'm like, wow.
I don't know. And back in the days, we used to call that fugazi. That means that's a little funny business.
Yeah, but I said when I looked at the tape, I looked at his expression on his face. When you get hit with a good body shot, there's an expression. It's like your whole soul is taken from you. But
right.
I mean, that's what I saw in his face. That either Luke Campbell is a damn good actor or that's a damn good body shot. Which one is it?
Well, I'll tell you something. I'm gonna go back a little bit. When Bernard Hopkins fought Oscar De La Hoya, and when he got hit with that body shot, and all of a sudden I was like, "Fugazi, what is going on here?" I mean, I've heard of late reactions, but come on now, not next week.
Now, what about the Bruce Seldon, Mike Tyson? That was probably better. What do you think about that?
That was, it don't get any worse than that one. That man shot a punch past his head and he said, "Oh, time to go down." I was like, what the? It went past his head. I mean, I didn't know. I know storms and hurricanes carry gale force winds, but I didn't know a punch could carry a gale force wind to it and knock you off your feet.
I think he heard the punch go for no duck.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, let's move on. So we've talked about Garcia. Lopez, Lomachenko's complaining, making excuses, this, that, and the other. What happens to Lopez next, do you think, in his career? How far do you think he can go?
Well, listen, he went to the top of the mountain already, so the sky's the limit. Right now, he's a fantastic package of boxing. He's boxing well. He can punch. In certain situations, you can tell like he's not that lethal puncher per se, but he can punch. You know, he can punch, and that's going to carry him a long way because he will fight. So
it seemed in the latter half of the fight of him and Lomachenko, the smaller guy, who was actually starting to back up Lopez, and he didn't seem to like that pressure when Lomachenko started to try and get on top of him. Is there anything that can be read in between that? Like if it was a bigger, more physically imposing guy, would cause Lopez more problems? Am I reading too much into that?
No, you know what? I'm going to tell you. I thought the moment was catching up with Lopez a little bit. He
Yeah.
boxed well early, and then but there's stages to all of these things when these kids are boxing for world titles and
Right.
and recognition. And I think Lomachenko's efforts to pick it up caught him off guard, and he really didn't know how to deal with it 100%. But he was doing enough to carry it through. Like at moments when Lomachenko was coming on hard, he would respond to it, which was good. He didn't fold up like a house of cards, and that kept him in it at that point. But I thought he was well ahead. I mean, he did what he had to do, and he controlled the environment enough to be comfortable when he didn't want to control the environment. So that was good, and he'll learn from it.
Deverenchenko fights against obviously GGG, Danny Jacobs, and now just finished fighting against CHARLO. What did you make of the CHARLO experience?
Listen, I told Jermall, I said, you surprised me, Pop. You really showed me a lot. And you know, it was a different CHARLO brother. Usually they act up, but Jermall has been getting very, very mature about what he does. His younger brother, well, quote unquote younger brother, he still seems to have, you know, attitude issues and gets a little crazy. But I like what I saw out of CHARLO when we fought him. He showed me a lot, showed me poise. He showed me the ability to take punishment and then work back again. And he never folded up. I thought he was going to fold up. And
Wow.
He held his ground and all the way through the end. And even after the fight was over, when he came over and he said, "Coach, man, that's the toughest guy I ever fought." I said, "Yeah," but you surprised me tonight. You showed me a lot. I'm proud of you. That's what I told him.
I actually, sorry, Coach, but I picked CHARLO to win. I was actually expecting to win by uppercut and by knockout, but Deverenchenko showed he was really tough. Took a heck of a lot of punches, threw a lot of punches himself. Game fighter, did really well in the fight. Now, where does Deverenchenko fit in the mix now? Obviously, he's fought Jacobs, he's fought CHARLO, he's fought GGG. So, what are you going to try and do with Deverenchenko, and what are the lessons you've learned moving forward into 2021?
Well, with Sergey, literally. There's only a few routes left. He's an older fighter. He's not a spring chicken anymore, and you have to be careful how you route it. Now it's going to be smart direction and matchmaking to make sure he can get in there, because he'll fight no matter who he fights. Oh, yeah. Now the WBA became vacant by Canelo, and there's an opportunity there. I'd like to see him fight. We have a few people on the dais. I'd like to see him fight a Chris EUBANK. I'd like to see him fight a Murata. You understand, guys?
Yes. Well, I heard a rumor that Murata and EUBANK Jr. are fighting for the WBA title. That's just a rumor. I don't know how true that is.
Right, I've heard the same thing, but I have no foundation for it yet. So I'm sort of just riding the rhythm on it to see what happens. But I'm looking forward to seeing what direction we can go in. He's one of my favorite fighters. Sergey is one of the nicest young men on the planet. I mean, just a really wonderful human being, wonderful soul. And I thought we got jobbed in the Triple G fight. Some people thought he got jobbed in the Jacobs fight, but I really thought we got jobbed in the Triple G. He should have won that fight. And I just, for the fact for him to win a belt and take it home, my heart would be satisfied.
I can hear that. I can understand that. Lawrence Williams is suggesting Deverenchenko move down to 154, but he's an older gentleman. Would you really want to go down to 154 and fight? And would you have the strength at 154 to fight? Well,
I mean, it's up to Sergey. He's an accomplished amateur. He's had over 400 fights. He knows where his weight is best at. it's a lot to be 34 years old and talking about I'm gonna go down to 54. Usually it's like I move up a little bit, so on and so forth. So I'm not sure. Whatever he wants to do, we will do it. But it's truly up to him.
Lawrence Williams asked the question. Salute, Ingram. Ask Coach Dre, how is the partnership with MTK going? I think I spoke about it before, but when is the next show?
Our next show, actually, I'm happy to say and promote this part. We just made an agreement with a resort facility in Orlando, Florida called Caribe Royale Resorts.
Okay.
And we will be doing for the fiscal year 2021 6 shows at the facility.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. When does that begin? When will it start?
February 20th.
Okay, and who's going to be on the card for that?
We have my niece, Melissa Odessa Roberts.
Okay.
She will be boxing for the IBO junior bantamweight title.
Okay.
And we have Joseph Mac Williams. He's 13-0 with 9 KOs. He's boxing. I believe it will be for the NABF light heavyweight title.
Okay.
We have Ivan Golub. He's 19-0. 19-1. I keep saying because that one was such a disputed one. But
I hate that.
With 16 knockouts, and he will be boxing on the card. And we're filling in with a few other exciting fighters also.
Well, Coach, please send them through to BWTM Sports. We'd love to interview them, and we love boxing. So if you bring them through, we want to take care of them and interview them and introduce them to the UK.
Most definitely.
So let's get that
for sure.
well. Thank you very much. Now, so let's move on. Boxing. Let's see. Deontay Wilder. GLOVEGATE. First of all, let's talk about GLOVEGATE. What are your thoughts on GLOVEGATE?
Well, you know what? A lot of people, boxing fans are really fickle. They are fickle. They're with you when it's hot. They're not with you when it's not. Like if the boiler is not working in the house, them suckers are running and leaving you right there by yourself. Now, Deontay, he has become the world champion. He defended his title many times. He fought Tyson Fury, who happens to be a very, very accomplished heavyweight fighter, heavyweight world champion. And he lost. His only loss. It was like the world came to an end. Oh, this is wrong, that's wrong. He lost the fight. It happens in boxing. Very few men remain undefeated for their entire career. So he fought, he lost. It was a good fight. It was exciting. They need to do it again.
What did you make of him sacking Mark BRELAND?
I think that was just peer pressure from everybody. Hey, listen, very few boxers have the wherewithal and the morals to say, you know what, I messed up. I could tell you as a trainer, I'm saying, keep your hands up. I want a jab, right hand, left to the body. When you finish that body shot, I want you to get that hand back on your chin and step around. If you go in there and throw a jab, right hand, left to the body, and that left hand stays on your hip, and you get hit with a right hand across the chin and you get knocked out, whose fault is it? You didn't listen. I told you to get that left hand back on your chin. We worked on that. If you don't implement what you're being taught, then you can't make excuses for when the accident happens. And I hate fighters that won't take at least a bit of the blame. Oh, you know what, coach? I'm sorry, I didn't do what we worked on. First thing in their mouths is, oh, well, you know, this, that, and the other thing. And the blame game is the easiest thing in the world to do.
What puzzles me is the whole Jay Diaz head coach situation where has JD's ever boxed before in his career? Or has he ever trained? I mean, where did JD's come from? And then you've got Mark BRELAND, accomplished fighter, accomplished trainer. Why? It doesn't make any sense to me and many people watching on.
I agree with you 100.
Andre, you there? I've just called. I think we lost Andre for a minute. Maybe he's got a call coming through. Let's see.
Percent. I think they look for escape.
Andre, you there? You're breaking up a bit.
All right.
You're breaking up, Andre. You there still?
Hold on, let me try to adjust the sound here.
You're there on sound, but your picture's gone. Your sound's there.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
Okay, I'm trying to get you back. I don't have sound coming from your end.
That's odd because I can see you. Do you want to log out and log back in?
Let's see if we turn this up.
Log out and log back in.
Let's try. Okay, hold on.
Can you hear me?
I can see you, but I can't hear you.
I don't understand. Let's see.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Can you? I can hear you. Brilliant.
Check.
I think if you're in, Andre, log back, come out and come back in.
One, testing one.
There you're out.
Hold on. I think I'm getting it now. Here we go.
Log out and log back in, Andre.
Okay. Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm gonna get it back in right now. I'm coming. I'm getting it together.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're just waiting for Andre to come back in the room. We'll be with Andre in a minute. Just waiting for technical issues. Bear with us at BWTM Sports. We're just waiting for Andre to come back in the room. There we go. Let's bring Andre back in. Andre, you there? Yeah.
Can you hear me? All right. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
You're breaking up just a bit, Andre.
All right.
Okay. So we're talking about Wilder and we're talking about Jay Diaz. Oh. Oh.
Yeah, I think Jay.
You're breaking
yeah,
up.
I think
Very good. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
Hello? I think
Breaking up again.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's you're
Hello?
breaking in and out. Now try now. Try now.
Oh. Okay, can you hear me now?
Perfect. Let's go.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So with that being said, it was like somebody had to be blamed for it, and they all sort of ganged up on Mark and made him the scapegoat for it.
So now I hear that Wilder's looking to bring in new people into the camp.
Yeah, he said that, but I don't know who he's going to bring in. I guess we'll have to see when he fights again.
Can he improve? I mean, that's the ultimately, can he improve and can he beat Tyson Fury? Or is that just somebody's got his number?
He can improve. That he can do. He can improve. Can he beat Tyson Fury? I don't know. Tyson seems to be getting better and better.
What have you made with the glove? The glove. People saying that you know, Deontay saying the glove wasn't padded, and you know he's got a dent in the side of his head, and he was drugged coming to the ring. What are your thoughts about it all as a trainer?
I think that is the biggest farce of fake information ever. I mean, Deontay did himself a disservice by going in that direction. If I was Deontay or the people behind him, I would have said, listen, take the loss, get ready for another fight with him, and go from there. Don't make crazy excuses. Next thing you're going to tell me is that the voodoo doctor was throwing spells on you. We don't want to hear that.
So, so there is talk. I mean, there are whispers that Wilder versus Fury 3 is going to happen because they're in the court of arbitration at the moment.
Oh, I want to see it. I'm one that wants to see it. I want to see Tyson Fury and Deontay, and then I want to see the winner of that face Joshua.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Anthony Joshua? His defense against Kubrat Pulev, his now style of being able to move around the ring and still box and then be aggressive. What are your thoughts on the whole Kubrat Pulev win for Joshua?
He looked good in that fight. He looked good in that fight. He was explosive. He was sharp. He looked good. I mean, honestly, the Ruiz fight damaged his brand a bit because he shouldn't have lost to him. He really shouldn't have lost to him. He might have been unfocused, but that's on him. You know you're fighting. You know you have an opponent in front of you. You have to be prepared to beat that opponent. And he wasn't. So that was on him. But I think he's refocused now, and I like what I'm seeing out of him.
OLEKSANDR USYK, formerly trained by Uncle James Ali BASHIR. What have you made of his introduction to the heavyweight division and a potential fight with him against either Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua or even Deontay Wilder?
Well, I mean, you know, there's levels to everything. There's levels to everything. Like a lot of people, and especially in the heavyweight division, they want a piece of the action. They want that big fight. You got a guy like USYK, who I think is too, even though he's 6'4", I still think he's too small for them guys. And once they plant one of those heavy-duty heavyweight punches on his nugget, he's going to know it.
Well, he said in a recent interview that Derek Chisora hit him with a right hand in about the second round, put his lights out. He was out on his feet.
Well, that's what happened. That's what happens when those heavy-handed boys hit you. It's going to be even worse when they're in there fighting with those 10-ounce gloves on without a headgear.
Well, he came up with some other things. He said that Derek Chisora's gloves, there was something wrong with Derek Chisora's gloves. He said he didn't know the size of the ring until he was doing the ring walk on the night. Are those things bizarre for a fight to come out of a fighter's mouth?
It's very bizarre. I mean, you know, it's almost like a bad precedent. They're starting to come up with excuses for everything. Forget the excuses. It's the boxing game. This is the hurt business. You have to be ready to fight. You have to be able to represent yourself in that ring. I don't want to hear about, oh, my mother asked me to pick up some groceries, so I did that before I came to the fight, and that was why I got, man, get on out of here.
So, USYK versus Joshua. If Fury is forced to fight Wilder a third time, and the judge says you have to honor your contract, if that happens, then we could be seeing a Joshua versus USYK. Who wins and why?
If Anthony fights USYK, he knocks him out in maybe the fifth or sixth round. Definitely.
Why is that?
Well, I mean, if I have to gauge, even from the bad points of Joshua can punch. He has beautiful range when he uses it, and his jab is a monster. So if he utilizes those weapons correctly, Usyk is going to have a hard time getting it. And Usyk is not a big puncher. He's a volume attacker. He builds up with these punches, but he's not that big puncher. Them guys are not going to be wary of him. A guy like Tyson.
Go ahead.
A guy like Tyson Fury would just walk him down and bludgeon him.
Andre, you
so
there?
I think that Usyk is a really good fighter, but it's a hard division for him with those big boys.
What have you made of the fact that Usyk split with James BASHIR and then decided to go it and say that he didn't need BASHIR, he's had enough, and BASHIR's taught him all he needs to teach him. What have you seen him since BASHIR? Has he improved as a fighter, or has he regressed?
Well, I mean, I haven't really been studying him, to tell you the truth. So I have to look back, and we could talk about that another time for sure, when I get a good view of what he's been doing since that point in time.
Okay, fair enough. Let us talk a little bit about Jacobs versus Rozier. How did that fight go for you, and what did you think about it?
Well, Danny said he was going to destroy Gabe, and he almost lost the fight. That's ridiculous. You know, and I mean, he said that when he left, because I've never spoken to him since the Canelo fight.
Right.
He said that he was going to improve, and well, if you ask me, he went in reverse. And he's lucky to come out of that with that win. He's very lucky.
We have a saying on this channel called, when we talk about Jacobs, or we don't talk about him much, it sounds like a very bad word, since we call him glad to be here Jacobs, because since the GGG fight and the Canelo, so much more the Canelo fight, I've said, what are you doing? You know, you had the GG fight. You should have learned from the GG fight and put it together in the Canelo fight. He didn't. He just seemed to just turn up for the Canelo fight. I'm glad to be here. I'm happy to be here. And since the Canelo fight, he just seems to be getting worse and worse and worse and worse. He's just regressing. Why does that happen in a fighter, Coach?
Well, I mean, sometimes they get content. Money brings along a lackadaisical attitude and mind frame. And Danny has been fortunate enough to make a lot of money. So with that being said, it seems like the fire of desire has been burning very, very lightly, almost out. So at this point, I would say if he doesn't turn it back up, he should retire.
Jacobs versus Charlo, who wins and why?
Well, if the Danny that fought Gabe Rosado fights Charlo, he loses.
How?
He could lose by knockout. Because Charlo is coming very, very hard. But if he doesn't bring his fight game to the form of fruition, then he could very well easily come up short.
Yourself and Abel Sanchez have been brought into the sort of somewhat similarities, because both GGG and Danny Jacobs went to the zone and got the big money and then left their trainers behind. How does that make you feel as a trainer? Abel Sanchez was devastated. How does that make you feel?
Well, I mean, you know what? It's a little bit different because I was with Danny since he first started.
Yes.
And I mean, GGG came over. He already knew how to fight. I mean, he knew how to fight. He was an Olympic athlete. He was doing what he had to do. He came over. He had a bunch of knockouts and wins when he started working with Abel. I was with Danny for his first professional fight. So, like I tell people, he might say, "Oh, this." No, it's not the same. It's not the same. You were not with your fight as long as I was with mine, at all. we worked on those things. The way he fought is the way we worked with him to be. Triple G been like that since I've been watching some of his older fights. The same thing.
Right, the same way.
It's not like he went from Triple G to Sugar Ray Leonard. He went from Triple G to more Triple G.
I call him that's triple slow now.
A lot of trainers have a way of wanting to take the credit for that.
Yeah,
you know, I kid you not. If you were training Triple G, he would have been at the same point he's at right now. Because he's following that big.
He would have Caribbean style. He wouldn't have Mexican style. He'd have Caribbean style. I got rebranded.
That's right. That's right. He would have had the chickpeas and rice style. There you go. That's right. He'd have that nice curry goat style. There you go. But you know, like it was a big difference, and myself, I would have appreciated it if Danny would have said, "Look, I feel a certain way." I haven't spoken to him since that trip, since the Canelo fight.
Do you think that's because of his advisors and the people that are taking him down that road? Said, "You know what? Listen, just leave your trainer. We're giving you this money. You don't need him. We keep the money. You do things." Is that advisors there that have come in?
No. That's all Danny. As you could tell by his performance in the Gabe Rosado fight, and even in the Chavez fight, he was going backwards.
Yes.
He was going backwards, and I know how to get into his head and drive him. And he hasn't had that, and these are the results of that.
How do you keep going and keep faith with fighters or something like that, which is pretty devastating because you've had him since, you've had him from the start. How do you keep going and have faith in fighters that it doesn't affect your professionalism? Because that must hurt.
Well, it's like I have to go down this road. It's like women. You know, there's millions of women on the planet. You know, you might be in a relationship with 10 of them, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, 8 of them are not going to be right. So you got those 2 that are, and you got to make sure it's just good for you.
2.
So,
Andre, 2.
Right. Right. I've been fortunate where I've had a lot more. Thank God I put my hand on my chest and I say to God, thank you very much for the young men that have walked into my life and believed in. Yes. And they believe in what I'm doing and what I'm teaching them, and they want to be better and they want to be champions, and it's just very, very respectful. Most of my guys call me Uncle Dre, but it's almost like the karate movies, you know, like Uncle Yoon, everybody. You know what I mean? It's a term of endearment and respect, and I love my kids for that. And I've been fortunate, like I said, I've only had 1 or 2 that have been like gone astray, but it's been pretty good.
That's good to hear. What have you made of Caneloism?
Listen, I love Canelo. Canelo's a bad boy. You know, people say a lot about Canelo. Canelo fought Callum Smith. I thought that was going to be a tough fight for him. Hell, I thought he was going to lose to Kovalev. Listen. I'm telling you. What?
Listen, Callum Smith got beat by John Ryder, and all he does when he gets the ropes is do that. I mean, I didn't see how, as soon as Canelo puts pressure on Callum Smith, he just do that, and that's exactly what you saw in the fight. And there's no way Callum Smith was going to beat Canelo. Never.
No, not at all. And I thought it was going to be a good fight. But ever since Canelo knocked out Kovalev, I've been a fan. I wasn't even a fan when he fought Danny, because I felt Danny could have beat him if Danny would have worked the way he was supposed to.
But that fight with Kovalev always leaves me very suspicious, because Kovalev, how many times did Kovalev throw the right hand in that fight? He was just using the jab, He never threw the right hand with any conviction.
Yeah, he sort of chumped out of it. He might have took the Luke Campbell run on us. but I thought Kovalev was going to bring the noise.
Nah.
The only noise he brought, all he brought was a bottle popper. Pick, 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 pick. That was it. There was no noise.
They were meeting, they were shaking hands, they were really friendly. It was like a business deal. That's all it seemed like. Here you are. Where's the money? Here's the belt. Here's the belt. Here's the money. Right. Okay.
Right.
And
right.
Kovalev didn't fight the same fury, but then other people said that, well, you know, Kovalev just fought Anthony Yard, and it was only a few weeks later on that he was fighting Canelo. He should have more time to prepare. I don't know.
Listen, I don't care what anybody says. I thought the Crusher was coming to crush.
Nah.
The Crusher did not come to shave one ice cube at all. Not one bit. Okay. So I was disappointed in him, but I started believing in Canelo then.
Canelo might fight Vildream. I'm hearing he might fight Vildream. There's some rumors of that. What do you think of that?
You know what? I don't really want to see Canelo fight anybody, but at this point, Caleb Plant.
Yes.
And the big fight for him is going to be Benavidez.
While I'm at it, might as well talk about your best friend, Billy Joe Saunders, because, talk to me about Billy Joe Saunders and where he fits in the mix, you think?
Well, see, a lot of people don't like Billy Joe, but I like Billy Joe. I think he's a talented fighter. You know, sometimes he talks a lot, and sometimes he talks too much. I had fun with him when I was in England, and I told him it was funny because when Affondale Castidis was supposed to fight him, he pushed Affondale's belt off the table and this, that, and the other thing. And before that happened, I didn't know that Affondale was the person he was. I was like, I told, like, when Billy and Affondale did the face-to-face, Affondale didn't smile or nothing. Billy was joking, and then Billy ended up hugging him. And now we fast forward like about 4 or 5 months. I was saying, I got to tell Billy. I said, Billy, you know what? We joke about this, but that man's a cold-hearted killer. He'd have killed your ass. You over there joking with him. I was saying, he looking at you like he gonna kill you. Now I realize why he was looking like that.
So, Billy Joe Saunders, and Demetrius Andrade, what's going on with Demetrius Andrade? Can you tell me what's going on with him?
Oh, listen, Demetrius that's my favorite nephew, and he's just been given like the raw side of the situation. Nobody wants to fight him. He's a talented fighter. People say he's boring. Put him in there with somebody exciting, and you'll see how boring he's not. Let's go. And nobody wants to fight him because he's a difficult task. He's tall. He's rangy. He's a southpaw. And he's very, very awkward.
What happened this fight? He was going to fight. They kept talking about him fighting the guy from UK, from Liam. I can't remember his name again. Liam. Oh, I've lost his name again.
Liam Smith, right?
Not Smith. The Welshman. No, he's Welshman. No, I know you talk. The guy. He just won the other day. He's #1 contender for the WBO title.
Right. I know you're talking about.
I can see him now. Is it Liam Williams?
Yeah. Liam Williams, yes, Liam Williams. I think that's it.
Yeah.
Liam.
I think we've lost coach again. Yeah, I think we've lost coach again.
Now, I mean, Liam Williams.
Connection with coach. Coach, you there? Coach, you there? Hello, coach? Coach, you there? Coach?
Okay. Yeah, I think that he's asking for a treacherous meeting by egging on Boo Boo. I call him Boo Boo. And
Yes,
he hasn't seen what he's going to see in the ring against Demetrius Andrade. Boy, oh boy.
So what's happened? People saying Boo Boo is running scared, which I think is absurd. He's running scared, so he's moved up super middleweight. What's going on with all that?
Yeah, hold on. I need the mic back up. Oh, where we go? Stay with me.
I'm with you, coach. I'm with you.
Reset. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, coach. Can hear you clear, nice and clear.
Okay, good. So I think that he's asking for a rough run. I mean, it's a tough fight for Mr. Williams, but Boo Boo needs to fight. He's not fighting. I like to see him fight Triple G. They're talking about that. I need to see something. And then they're talking about Triple G and Meninga. Meninga didn't want to fight Andrade. Well, that would have been an assassination.
I mean, why do you think that Boo Boo's getting the sort of deals he's got? What is the reason? What's the real reason as to why he's not getting the fights? Is it ticket sales? Because they say sometimes fighters don't get the deals because of ticket sales.
No, well, he sold out his arena in Rhode Island, so that was good. I wouldn't say it was that. I think it's just that, you know, it's a lot. It's a lot. I just honestly, I just want my nephew to be able to get the chance to show just how great he is, and be ready for his induction into the Hall of Fame. He needs the big fights to get there, so they need to work on that.
Is it bad management or poor promotion or what? Why is it that he's not getting the fights that we know he should be getting because he's such a talented fighter?
Well, I mean, he didn't have he had a tough road beginning. He didn't have a major promoter starting up, and that was one of the biggest problems. And you know, it's just sometimes you don't make the decisions that are good for you, and it stalls your career. Unfortunately, some of this has happened, and we just pray that it can all be put back on track before it's too late for him to reap the rewards of being the fantastic athlete that he is.
So tell us what was going on between him and Billy Joe Saunders, because that fight was going to happen, and then all of a sudden it just kind of fell apart.
You know, we were looking forward to it. I don't know why it fell apart, really. I thought that would have been a really interesting shootout. Two classic boxers that move and shift, and I thought it would have been great, but it didn't happen.
So why is it the fighters like Boo Boo get kind of like it seems like they get sidelined? Strangely enough, it seems to be a reoccurring pattern, because with Luis Ortiz, he came to the UK. He was looking for a big deal. He got sidelined by fighting two guys that really didn't matter. Danny Jacobs has signed, and Danny Jacobs, I mean, he's having the fights, but I would say his profile has grown from it. So what is it? What is it with these fighters?
Well, sometimes, you know, the fighters have to realize that this game is a political and business game,
right?
And you have to be on top of it so that all the pieces play themselves in the right place. And unfortunately, some athletes get the worst of it, not just due to outside circumstances, but their own involvement.
Right.
So sometimes they have to just adhere to taking care of their business of boxing and let the business be handled by the businessmen.
So what would you, if you were going to say, what would Boo Boo's best win be for you? And then how would you sell that to make that into a big fight for him to get a Triple G, a Canelo, a Billy Joe Saunders, even a Chris Eubank Jr.?
Well, you know, at this point, he would need to surpass that middle fight and go right into the major fights, like fight a Triple G, fight a Charlo, fight beat up a Meninga. You know what I mean? That's what it would be in that direction, and then he could attack the bigger dogs.
But then he would have a, I hate to use the A side, B side, but what would Andrade's or Boo Boo, what would be his selling point to be an A side fighter?
Well, at this point he's a world champion. He wouldn't be an A side against a Triple G. He'd have to make himself an A side after he beat him.
Right. So it'd be a B side.
And that's one of the things. With Charlo, he might not even be the A side there, because you have to, your promotional entity and the people around you have to make you an A side. It has to be professed that I am worthy of this A side status. So when that's not happening, it's like you have to you have to rely on your own laurels to rise up to that occasion and make people believe I am the A side.
But then he's got to be more vocal. I mean, him being on DAZN doing these pundit stuff, do you think that helps his profile, or?
Yeah, well, because it's the other side doing it.
I agree. I mean, he's a vocal young man. He's a really vocal young man. He will tell it like it is, but he still needs more of a platform. Eddie Hearn has a bunch of the middleweights that they can make some things happen with. There's only one middleweight on the PBC side in CHARLO. So, I mean, EUBANK also, but that's it. There's fights to be made. Meninga is supposed to be the mandatory, and he doesn't want to fight him.
So isn't that back down to the promotions and their responsibility to do something to serve, obviously, Andrade? Obviously, it's their responsibility to promote him. That's why he signed with them, right?
100%. 100%.
And that's
100. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the promoter has to promote. You can't wait for it to happen. You have to promote.
So we have Canelo going back and resuing DAZN.
Again?
That's what he sued them. I know he's resuing them, but he sued them. I was resuing them.
He sued him already. Whoa. I mean, what the heck is he suing him for now?
I don't know. Hello.
I'm doing a podcast. It's okay.
So how does that work out?
Listen, I can't believe I'll understand what the heck that's all about. I mean, unless he's suing about money again.
It's only about money, isn't it? It's only about money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I don't understand. He said he was happy to work with them, and then after he works with them, then he sues them again. That's crazy.
It's interesting. Okay, so let's talk about Errol Spence, the comeback of Errol Spence with Danny Garcia.
Okay. Errol Spence looked really good in the fight. I expected Danny to lead a bit more, because Danny is a natural counterpuncher. But you cannot wait to counterpunch against somebody that's throwing like 75, 80 punches around at you. You're going to get behind, because there's no way you can counterpunch that much to make that work. So that was a problem for Danny. He picked it up in the end, but it was far too late. And literally, that's been his problem. with these major fights. Every major fight that he's come up short in is because he waited, counterpunching instead of leading out. But it's hard when that's your nature.
Is that to do with his father and the way his father trains him, or is that just Danny Garcia's nature?
I'm pretty sure it might be a little bit of both, but that's Danny's nature to do that, because I heard his father imploring him to press, and Danny didn't. So that might be more Danny than anything else.
Wow. Errol Spence, is it arguable to say that he looked better now than ever in his career?
I wouldn't say he looked better than ever in his career, but after what he went through, he looked pretty damn good.
Spence Crawford, where do you sit with all this?
I like to see the two of them fight. I'm so sick of these politics and this. Back in the day, fights were made. This is ridiculous. That's why boxing is where it's at right now. You have two of the best welterweights on the planet. Let them fight. Get the paperwork done. Get them in there. Let's see who's number one.
What about this whole thing of marinating fights? Where did that come from, and does that do boxing any favors?
That must have came from BBQ's, the restaurant, because that's all they do is marinate food, meat over there. I don't want to hear about no marinating. Get your butts in that ring and fight.
But marinating is destroying boxing. Wilder versus Joshua. We should have had that fight. Marinating.
Horrible. I'm sick of that. I'm so sick of that term, marinating. Leave that to the cooks. They marinate things. We don't want to hear about them marinating. We're not in the kitchen. We're in the boxing ring making it work. I don't want to hear that.
So where do you think, where does this go? Spence versus Crawford at this point in time. Who wins and why?
Listen, that's going to be a tough fight. I have to go with Crawford. He has the far more versatility. Switching, southpaw, orthodox. He can punch, and he's mean. He's mean. He wants to get you out of there. So I'm gonna have to really ride with Crawford.
Okay. Crawford versus Porter, a fight that people are talking about. How does that fight go?
I think that's gonna be a little bit different because Porter is a more kinetic athlete. He's always in motion. He's always bringing it. He's staying close. That'd be a very interesting fight because remember now we all know styles make fights. Frazier beats Ali. Ali beats Foreman. Foreman destroys Frazier.
Yeah.
The circle is always strange like that. So, you know, you never know. And one guy's advantage might be another guy's disadvantage.
What about Keith Once Upon a Time Thurman?
I don't even want to talk about him. Yeah, he's so disappointing. He's so disappointing. Mr. Glamour, Mr. Showman, and then he went in there and gave a half effort against Pacquiao. I mean, I bet on Thurman to win that fight.
No,
that sucker made me lose $500. If I see him now, I slap him in the head.
Thurman's my boy, but I mean, I've known Thurman for years, but he wasn't beating no Pacquiao. No way.
Oh,
never.
Horrible.
And Manny Pacquiao, what about him? They talk about he wants to fight Spence next. He wants to fight McGregor. What do you do with Pacquiao? He wants 2 fights next. He wants Spence and he wants McGregor. That's what he's talking about. What are your thoughts on Pacquiao now?
I say Pacquiao should fight McGregor. He's 40+ years old. Cut the bull crap. The young boy is going to catch up to you eventually, and then you're going to get smacked upside the head, and Jinky's going to be sitting there crying again. So go ahead, box McGregor, make the money because you're going to make more money with McGregor than Spence anyway, and just go on and ride off into the sunset and become president of Philippines and do your thing.
Okay, Floyd Mayweather. In the comeback.
Floyd is going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yes. Just waiting for coach. He's at the gym, so just waiting for his connection. His connection will come back. Might be getting telephone calls.
And he's still finding ways to.
Coach, you there?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, coach. You were talking about Floyd, and you broke up.
Get it back. Audio. Speakerphone is there. All right.
Right, go ahead, coach.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You were saying about Floyd.
Okay, I got to get you back.
Can you hear me?
All right, stay with me. I'm coming back.
I'm with you.
Coming back strong. All right.
Right. You were talking about Floyd, coach. Can you hear me?
Oh, I've got to get your sound. I can't hear you.
Okay.
Let me try to get the sound back.
Okay.
Are we queued up? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you. I see you, but I can't hear you.
That's odd. Let's try again for that out. Put that in. Can you hear me now?
Hold on, you're very low. It's like we got something not connected.
Check. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Perfect.
Okay, I don't know why it's doing that now. Let me check this. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I don't know. Oh, good, good. I'm trying to find out why you're not getting it through here. Speaker. Okay, that's good.
Check 1, 2. Check 2,
audio.
Check 1, check 2. Check 1, check 2.
It's all good here.
Can you hear me?
No, you're still low.
Hello, can you hear me?
All right, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Oh, I just heard you, then it disappeared.
Okay.
You're coming through loud and clear.
Can you hear me now?
Let's try that again.
Hello?
How about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, we're good now. There you go.
Fantastic. So we were saying, you're talking about Floyd going into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so Floyd is going into the Hall of Fame. Floyd, as it's stated, you have to be retired for several years, so on and so forth. But now he's claiming these events are exhibitions. So he's getting by the actual issue of boxing professionally because this is an exhibition.
Right.
The man knows how to hoodwink the public.
What do you make of the fight?
I think it's a joke. I mean, this Jake Paul he's a YouTube star. He went to the gym, worked out a little bit, had one pro fight, had this other fight. It's a big joke. I mean, Floyd could be like 115, they still knock him out. It's insane. But I'm not mad at Floyd for the fact that it's called an exhibition and he's making money. It is what it is.
Mike Tyson. What you talking about exhibitions? Mike Tyson and Roy Jones and Evander Holyfield.
Listen, I don't mind those guys boxing each other. They're wearing bigger gloves. They're not hurt. They're not getting hurt. They're entertaining the crowd. People have for those who've never seen them fight, it's entertaining. So and I mean, they put on a good show. If you could put on something that the crowd is enjoying, Julio Cesar Chavez and I forget he worked I forget who he boxed against in Mexico. There were over 7,000 people that came to see them box. Amazing. Amazing. And they had on headgears and bigger gloves, so it's all right.
The Oscar De La Hoya comeback.
Oscar needs to sit his butt down and cut the monkey business. If Oscar don't stop talking about coming back, I'm going to take all his fishnets and pantyhose and I'm going to hide him.
He's talking about a comeback and he name dropped Floyd Mayweather. He says, why fight Canelo? Why not fight the guy that beat Canelo, Floyd, in a revenge rematch?
Well, you know what? They all know that it's all about the money. I don't mind it. Hey, I don't even mind if Oscar and Floyd get in there and, you know, they do an exhibition too. I don't care. You know, we're going to see flashes of things, and that's what people want to see. They're going to drive it, and they're going to pay for it, so be it.
If there's one fight you can see in 2021, one fight, what would it be?
I'd really like to see Crawford and Spence. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
In all reality, that's the fight I want to see.
Does it happen in 2021? If Crawford leaves Bob Arum and goes to PBC?
It should definitely happen if that happens. If it doesn't happen, then it's never going to happen. Forget about it.
Final question, and this is to do with the UK boxing. We're getting a lot of fighters coming over from the UK, going to America, and coming up short. A lot of them are taking the money, coming to America, and they're coming in a week before the fight, 2 weeks before the fight, you know, not prepared. What would be your advice to fighters coming from the UK to fight in the States?
What I would tell them is, first and foremost, come over a little bit earlier. Come over so you can see the system as it's working, in sparring and training. Get an idea of what's going on, why my countrymates are coming up short. The only way to do that is to get early information. So get over here early, look at the system, learn the system, create the ambiance for your victories, and know what you have to do to be a winner.
Right. And I mean, in terms of the trainers, what do they need to do? The quality of training in the UK seems to be not as good as the training in America. Is that because America's bigger and they've got more access to sparring? What is it? You've seen the UK, you've seen the US. What is it?
Well, you know what? A trainer has to be able, even the best of trainers. I mean, even me, I sit and I watch the kids work at times, and I'm learning from what they're doing. You can never stop learning. And a lot of people think that, oh, I know it all. Once you know it all, forget about it, because you can never be taught anything. It's always a way to improve what you're doing. That's why if you ever notice, race car drivers, the successful ones are usually in their 40s, some in their 50s. Why? Because they've learned how to really drive. So knowledge is information, and information is bestowed upon you by time and testing and experience. So they should come and they should learn different things and look at different things to improve their whole game set.
Do you think that's lacking in the UK then?
Well, I wouldn't say it was outright lacking, but you can always learn different things. You can always learn different things. Learn why we're coming up short against these Americans.
Okay.
And put that in your information bank to improve yourself.
Okay.
If you ever see, I'll go to a gym and I'll watch what's going on in that gym environment. I won't say a word. I'll just watch. to see what's going on. Because now it's time to learn. I'm in a new environment. I have to learn the environment.
Yeah. But how many trainers would do that? A lot of the trainers probably feel that they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, you know, it's an ego thing. You can never tell. Honestly, you can never tell somebody like Abel Sanchez, "Oh, look, he thinks he knows it all." And I've had many a battle with him, and I'm like, hey, man, listen, we had some serious battles, and I told him he was a fake trainer. Cause he was like, oh, I said, you never built a fighter. I said, you build houses. How you building fighters?
You build a house.
But on the serious side, you never can learn too much. You have to observe and put those pieces into play to make you a better individual. Which a teacher becomes a great teacher by learning. Once they learn, they can convey the information by teaching. But if you never want to say, I can learn more, you'll never be a great teacher. Never.
James BASHIR as a trainer.
One of my favorites.
Why?
Because he's from the old school. He's from the school that taught me.
Wow.
And that school was a school of observation. And that's where he's from.
Why does he not get the credit or the recognition he does deserve?
I think because this is a game of politics and influence, and who has the most going on, this, that, and the other thing. And he might not have as much going on as other people, and he doesn't get the credit for what he does have going on.
Are we losing something when we don't have teachers like James BASHIR being, having the microscope on them in terms of what they can bring to the sport?
Of course, you want to make sure the best are at least in striking range, so you can learn from them also, and put them to quality use, so that the fighter is getting the best that he can possibly get. If you don't have that, you're not going to get the best.
And James BASHIR you would say is one of the best trainers in the world without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, he came from the old school. Without a doubt. I mean, listen, there's some great trainers on in the system. You have Eddie Reynoso. He brought Canelo from childhood, and the other fighters, childhood. I respect those trainers because they went through the trenches of the amateur rankings and everything else to get their fighter to be the #1 fighter on the planet. It's important. It's not that I say fighters, trainers who get fighters aren't good or great trainers, but there's a special ambiance for a trainer that brings a kid from nowhere and makes him a world champion.
I can hear the passion in your voice when you talk about topics like this. It's a topic that myself and Uncle BASHIR go on about all the time. It really is.
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I respect Emmanuel Stewart was the best trainer that ever walked this planet. He took maybe about 12 amateurs through the amateur ranks and made 8 of them world champions.
Wow.
That is special. That is real training. That's training from the grassroots all the way to the rooftop.
That's class.
BASHIR comes from that. He comes from that realm. There's not a lot, but there's those who are there, and you have to respect them.
And final, I say it's a final question, but now we're in this point. Final question: how does a boxer know how to find a quality trainer teacher?
A boxer has to be true to themselves. Most boxers that get to the point where they're special, they know how to fight. They know when somebody can teach them to be better than they are, because they've been doing it a long time. They're very intelligent when it comes to that. So they know when a person is bestowing information that will make them better athletes in the ring. They know.
But when a fighter sticks with a trainer because of loyalty, but they're stagnating as a fighter, how does that work?
Well, that's the flip side of it. A fighter has to know that, well, this is not working because I'm not moving from the point that I started with this individual. And if I'm not gaining ground, then I'm losing speed, and that has to stop.
Okay. Andre, Rozier, thank you so much for talking to BWTM Sports. Thank you for your time, your energy, your enthusiasm, your expertise, your knowledge. Thank you so much for being on gracing the channel. We really appreciate you and all you have had to say today.
It was my pleasure. Anytime. I enjoy conversation, especially when I can have a good time with it. And I'm here, and my fighters are here at your disposal.
Let's set them up. Let's bring them in. You bring them through, and I'm ready to interview all of them, because I think our boxing fans would appreciate the fighters on the channel, from DEVERENKKO to whoever you've got, even your niece, whoever you want to bring on. Just let me know. Just give me the time, and I'm here. And hey, we have the time because we're on lockdown in England, so we have the time.
Well, I'm going to give you a special treat right now, really quickly. I'm going to give you something special.
Okay.
Right now.
All right.
Richard.
Richard Commey. Oh, listen, the only thing is I can't see your camera, Andre.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't know why the camera's not working. I don't know. It's been like the same image for our whole conversation.
For the most part.
Let me see if I can do something about that real quick. Hold on. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's reset that. Camera mic. Camera. Okay. Okay. Face front. Done. Okay.
If that doesn't work, sign out and sign back in.
Okay. Let me see if I can do that. Hold on 1 second. But I'm going to give you some intriguing conversation with the one, the only, Richard Commey.
Richard Commey.
How you doing, sir?
I'm all right. How are you, brother?
Very good, very good.
Now, I don't know if you remember me. We spoke when you were in England, in Essex.
Right. That was a very long time ago.
You remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Congratulations on becoming world champion.
Oh, thank you very much. Big shout out to God Almighty for giving me life, and also my manager, Michael Amubediako, right from the beginning, he's been there for me and he's done a great job with me, So I thank God for everyone who's part of me. I met Andre, he became part of the team, Kid and all the guys at the gym, I really appreciate that. And thank God I became a world champion.
Richard, I know when you were training in England, you moved from England, you went to America. What was the difference for you training in the UK, sparring in the UK, and then moving to America and making that change? How much of a difference did it make in your career?
The difference is, the difference is very, very clear. Always, UK has got pretty good bosses, but sometimes, it's a little bit different in terms of, Americans always work on the technique, take their time, but in the UK, sometimes it's all about getting there and do what they have to do, like by rushing. They like that tempo, But in America, you have to take your time, work on your slate shots and all that, So it's a little bit different.
So what do you think it takes for you do you think you could have been a world champion staying in England?
It's not about it's hard for me from where I'm coming from, and in the UK it's a little bit like you don't get a chance that you really want. You don't really get it. But in America, boxing is if you're there, they give you the chance. If you prove yourself, you get a chance for a world title. But in the UK, it seems like the politics is too much in terms of the boxing politics.
When you talk about the boxing politics, what for you? What does that mean for you? For example, give me an example.
Yeah, when I was in the UK, right? When I was a Commonwealth champion, and Luke Campbell was supposed to challenge me. He was supposed to fight me for the belt, but he didn't fight me, and there was no one willing to fight me. As soon as I vacated the belt, he fought for it. So, that tells you that they don't really want the big guys in there really don't want to fight me just to see what I've got. And Mick had no option than to come arrange for me to come in the US and then just continue, because at some stage you always want to fight one big name just to put your name out there. And when I was in the UK, I wasn't getting that.
So when did you decide to say, you know what, I have to leave the UK and go to US? What was the moment? There must have been a trigger moment for you.
I think right after I lost to Robert Easter and then went to Rozier and won the fight, but they didn't give it to me. I told Mick, look, I got to go to the US and because I think I can be a world champion, so I got to go back there. And then very lucky on his part, he met Andre Rozier in Leicester, and then he made an arrangement with him, and then I came in 2017.
And how was that?
Won the title 2 years down the line.
Yeah, how was that for you, the transition from being in UK training and fighting and now going to the US? How was that transition?
Actually, when I was in the UK, I was still training with my long-time trainer from Ghana, CHARLO. So there wasn't really like I've got a British coach training me, you know what I mean? So it was the same style that I've got from Ghana to the UK and sparring Kevin Mitchell, Ricky Benz, and all of them. But I felt good sparring them, and my style matched their style pretty well. So I was thinking through that I would have got a chance to fight a big name, but I didn't. And then so it was the same style but then to come to America, even though I know I've got power and I can punch, but I came in and I realized that I can do much more damage if I sit and keep my hand and then make sure I get my timing right.
Fantastic. So now you're now fighting, I believe, Martinez on February 13th. How do you feel about that fight, and what do you expect to, after the Lopez defeat, how do you expect to bounce back from that?
Well, most definitely, I want to be a two-time world champion, and this guy, Jackson Martinez, is a good guy. I've seen him fight, but you know what? If I really want to be a world champion again, then I have to win this fight, and this is war. I'm expecting him to, it's not gonna be a walkover fight for me, or it's not gonna be an easy fight. But I'm working hard. Listen to my corner and make sure I get a win. Whichever way he comes in, I'm just training hard to make sure I win and look good, because it's almost over a year now I haven't fought. But I'm praying and hoping that definitely, if I did all the things that I'm working on, definitely I'm gonna be victorious on the night.
Isaac Dogba, obviously a fellow Ghanaian. What have you made of his career of recent times?
Well, I think very unfortunate. He lost his fight. He lost the back-to-back to he lost back-to-back when he first fought for the when he had opportunity to fight with Navarrete, and he lost it again, which is really bad. But since the father have left him, I think he's taking his time to get back slower again, which is very good. And he won his last his comeback fight, which is pretty cool. He was supposed to fight Mickey Collan, but then the fight was due to accident to Collan. I think he hurt his leg, and then the fight. But I'm praying that he got plenty of time ahead of him, so just have to take his time. And I think his coach is also working good with him. So I just wish him all the best, and hopefully he will be not just a world champion, but maybe a 2-3 time world champion, because he got plenty of time.
Fantastic. And finally, obviously Lopez now has gone on to become undisputed champion. your loss to Lopez, what does that make you feel like in terms of losing to the guy who's now beaten Lomachenko? What does that make you feel like moving forward?
Well, honestly, I belong in the same category. So you know what I mean. Sometimes it's always good when you share the ring with someone and the person going to become great. You know, you feel like, yeah, at least, you know what I mean, you've shared a ring with such person. But like I said, we all belong to the same category. You know what I mean? And we see the far, and even though whatever happened, Tofimo knows, he knows who I am. You know what I mean? Just that feel. So I mean, it's all good. I wish him the best, and he achieve it. He work hard and he achieve it. Get whatever he deserves. You know what I mean? It's just a great feelings, and you know what I mean. Just man.
And finally, last question. In terms of your career, if you could have one dream fight, what would that dream fight be?
Well, if Teofimo would give me a rematch, I'll love it.
You want to fight Teofimo again?
That's right.
Okay. What are your thoughts on what's his name again? This guy, Ryan Garcia.
Oh man, I think I watched the fight a couple, and Luke Campbell, sometimes you talk too much, and that's why I don't like to talk too much. You know what I mean? I just have to wait. When the time comes, then I do what I got to do. I leave all my talking in the ring rather than, you know what I mean? Now he's in the game, you know what I mean? He's in it. So, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, see.
Richard, it's wonderful. I can't see you on camera, but it's great to speak to you again. I spoke to you years ago. It's great to be able to talk to you again. And I look forward to seeing your fights. I look forward to speaking to you more often.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, champ, for your time.
God bless. God bless.
God bless you too.
All right. Bye. You want to talk to Andre, or are you done with him?
Yeah, if you I just want to say thank you to Andre and thank you for the interview.
Okay. Ambo, 1 second.
Yeah, I know it's official. I knew it was from yesterday.
All right.
Final thing, I've just heard that Tank versus Garcia is official.
What?
It's official.
Oh, man. Well, I told you what the flavor was.
What's going to happen? How do you see it happening?
Well, basically, the beginning of the fight, Ryan's going to try to keep Tank off of him. Okay. And Tank is going to work his way in, start touching some vital spots, and it's going to be too little time for him to correct that chin being up in the sky, and he's going to be floating like a leaf to the ground.
So your prediction in terms of fight prediction and knockout or what rounds?
Yes, I think the fight will end in a knockout, and I think it'll be Gervonta Davis stopping him somewhere inside of 7 or 8 rounds.
Okay, so I think I'll make that as the headline of our interview.
Okay, very good. Very good.
Brother Andre, thank you so much once again for the interview.
Anytime. Like I told you, we're here for you. Anything that will improve and grow your media stance with your site, we are here for you to do it.
Thank you, brother. Just let's get these interviews in. I want to get them in and give our fans something special.
Most definitely, without a doubt.
Thank you, champ. All the best. See you soon.
Okay, God bless you. Be safe. Be careful.